Supersonics stack up off the ball, two-man play. Payton off the Kemp pick. Oh! He will go back and get it and tomahawk it. Get on that magic carpet and soar.
Referees, you throw it out like this, you're supposed to time. Watch the ball hit Alonzo Mourning right near the head as it comes through John Kemp. And you know, knocked away. And Kemp, or Shrimp is finally with the steal. Now Payton the alley-oop to Kemp. This is trying to do. Eddie Johnson off the Kemp.
All of these shots are high degree of difficulty because of the presence of Elijah.
The only way you can get a shot off or a shot block is to take it right at him and say, oh, I'm a double clutch on the other side.
Here's some of that trapping defense. Payton takes it away from Williams. Gary Payton with the run-out dunk.
Did well against the Nets in the first half at least. Detlef Schrempf to Gary Payton to Sean Kemp for the jam, and Seattle led 30-19 after one quarter.
Tom called everybody in for lemonade, but he said, no, the game's still going on. I'll go in, take this in, and get a slammer.
Defensive-minded team that has this kind of Seattle possession.
They're no longer open.
Marshall, oh, what a pass! Outside of Dental, 3-on-2. Gary on his right, lobs it to Gary, goes to get it, hooks it up.
Advantage of Gary's awesome height advantage, 6'4" to 5'3", so they're going to just lob it up to him any chance they can.
Inside, and here comes Payton to Shrimp in the middle, all the way through. Get low, Gary Payton on the block, turns, hands off to McElvain, in he comes! All right, Jones had it taken away from him, Bill and Payton in the trap, now Payton with the lob.
Nice spin move into the middle, and then uses his left hand. Just perfect concentration, and he gets work.
Back to the basket, double team. Nice lob into McElvain, chip. And it goes to Ashburn. Blocked by Gibb.
Portis picking up the pressure, full-court press.
And the Sonic break and Shrimp to Kemp. Oh! Took a swipe and Shrimp down the left side, set it down. Oh, quick burst of speed to the glass. McElvain is it.
In this path, you can just select the game you want to see, like the Rockets against the Suns.
Well, again, Kemp steps out to get it, straddles the three-point arc, drives in, double teamed. Oh, what a play! Puts a chance to get into the lead here. Oh, but it's ripped away by Erickson. So Patty takes it to midcourt, drives into the lane, leaves it for Kemp, and he comes! Oh, a two-handed jam. Kemp against Popeye Jones, trying to get the poker turn, and it does. After the rebound, keeps it alive, goes to the glass, lays it up. No! Followed up down to McMillan. McMillan on the run to the trailing Detlef Schrempf underneath the Kemp. Gave up the dribble, now Dennis Scott in traffic, shuffled the feet, rejected by... Payton over to Kemp. Takes it inside for the slam. They'll put him on Nick Anderson. Almost gone. It's the tie here. Here's D-Rock. He's got a head of steam. Off the window now.
Let's have free. Yeah, right back.
Defensive. Roberts in the lead with a steal. 42-36. Orlando by 6. The lob for him.
You've got to at least give yourself a chance to score.
Kemp got free.
He dribbles it off his foot. Loose ball, Benoit alertly in midcourt. 3 seconds on the clock, and the double team works. Kemp goes in. Now just watch this elevation right here. Up over feet with this monster dunk. earlier.
What's up, Lotta?
She want that old thing back.
Yo, what it is, what it's gonna be, what's happening?
I share. Peace to the gods, I share.
That's right.
Peace to the earth, I share. Peace kings.
Peace.
Peace to the kings, I share. Peace queens. Peace to the queens, I share.
Yo, what's happening, everybody? It's your main man, Mr. X. Get your hand on my pocket, giving you what you want to give you what you need. Black Hot Fire Radio, X-Force, Force Revolutionaries. What's up, everybody? You dig? What is going on? What's happening? Happy to be here, man. Had a long day today. You dig? Had a long day today, brothers and sisters. Had a long day. But I'm happy I'm here, man. You know what I'm saying? Busy. And I like, when you're a black man and you're busy, and that's always a good thing. You know what I'm saying? You out in the world doing what you do, assisting brothers and sisters in need, people in the struggle, people in the diaspora. It's always a good thing. Black Hot Fire is having a show at the same time. I'm a little late. I won't be on long because I don't have my computer plugged for power. And this thing is going down pretty fast. But I will do my show for the people, for the love of the people. You dig? That's what I like doing. This is a sports show. And a lot of times I deal with basketball, I deal with football, the sports that our brothers and sisters compete in or are in a great amount. We dominate, right? So I'm not really going to do golf unless I'm dealing with Tiger Woods and his situations. I seen that he was on a magazine cover looking like a coon. They take those old coon minstrel show pictures and redo them with modern people. And the people have no idea, what it is that they're doing until the internet, the black internet finds the juxtaposition photo and they've been had. And that's one of those running jokes that they do with us. You know what I'm saying? Utter and outright disrespect. But I'm not going to deal with Tiger Woods because he ain't really in the news like that. But maybe one time I'll revisit Tiger Woods and his love for white women, because when we're dealing with the struggle, we deal with prominent black men who try their hardest not to be black until they get arrested and booked. And it says with the mugshot and the paperwork, race identity black. This is not what you call yourself, it's what the white man calls you. We can call ourselves Moors, we can call ourselves Hebrews, black nationalists, African Americans, Africans, African diaspora, Afro Americans, Negroes, black. The titles continuously change, but the circumstance and our conditions don't. And so white folks, when it doesn't really move the conscious needle, when they don't lose money first and foremost, and when they can still kill blacks undisputed and without reprisal, they're fine with it. We did my group positioned and commissioned and pushed for naming of Malcolm X Park. It was an area that organizers used for cookouts and things like that, and we called it Malcolm X Park on a DL type of thing. And Malcolm X's blood lives in this city, and so I thought it would be dope if we got the park officially named Malcolm X Park. And so I got the signed signatures and things like that. Had the guys get a form and fill the forms out or whatever, so that we can get signatures, so the people were known, the people were involved, and also my overtly militant brothers came at me with the, I knew they were gonna come at brother, I don't think I object if you going to demand the action, to name the park Malcolm X Park. Damn it, it's Malcolm X Park because we say it's Malcolm X Park. I know, brother, it's bigger than that. To get the community involved, to get the signatures, to go down to the Common Council, maybe have a little media exposure. Um, but it's all about building a resume for your organization, right? You got some things that promote what it is that you do, and then people are interested. It's a recruiting chip. And you have a park with a sign that says Minister Malcolm X, and it was beautiful. The first week that it was there, people were coming past in the hood looking at, that photo that we have. But it was beautiful. I forget why I told the story. I forget why I told the story. I talked about Tiger Woo. Tiger Woo, I like him. But we positioned and commissioned and all that stuff to get it named. And we had an event, and then we had Malcolm's great granddaughter there. And we took pictures and all that good stuff. It's a feel good moment. We still need those in the nationalist movement. And, we let it be known, hey, if you're going to do anything here, you better be hardcore. You better be revolutionary. You better really be for the people. This ain't no integrationist spot. Malcolm was not an integrationalist. So we're marking our spot. We're peeing here, and it's a high gentrification area. You know what I'm saying? So you make something out of the park. People support the park. If you constantly doing things there, maybe it would help stymie the gentrification. That would help it is people buy properties there, or push out those developers and financiers and financier groups that are coming in and buying up the properties there by any and all means necessary. And it's been done before. But when you're the might of the establishment, they think of ways to stop you. But the battle can be fought, and the war not lost. You can win a battle too. You can lose a battle, but the war continues. It's important to win battles. It's very important to win battles and let it be known that those battles were won, because our people are in such a destitution in terms of mentality in regards to our position here, and the willingness and the doability of winning this war. Is this doable? Can we win this war? We have not really shown signs like that. And if you get the right or the wrong person talking, they'll relegate everything that we've done to nothingness. You know what I mean? Just to win an argument or just to make a point, where they don't necessarily have to go there to make that point. There's been a lot of grassroots groups around the United States have done great works with little to no resources. And ultimately, it's going to be the money in our pockets and the fingers and we have on our hands to really get some work done. You know what I'm saying? And so when you talk about the enemy, you talk about a mass amount of wealth and them keeping it amongst themselves. They'll spend it. There's a lot of white millionaires who squandered their money, but we were not the recipient of that squandering. They squandered it to themselves. They squandered it to another white man or to another entity that does not spend in our community, because we don't have the economic base to take advantage of a spending white man, frivolous spending white man. It'd be great to do that, to have little black towns and have these barren white men come down and spend all their money while we build it up. You see, not in love, but militarily, strategically, militarily, to siphon resources from them legally. Some things legally, some things illegally. I won't talk about the illegal things, but legally, them coming down and enjoying themselves and bringing friends that enjoy themselves, and it ultimately becomes, what do we do with said resources? And do we take that money that they spend here and go right back up to their establishments and give it back to them? That's ultimately something we got to think of. And one of the big ways to make money, that's you look at something like a professional basketball team that usually sells in the hundreds of millions, probably around 500 million. Every team probably minimum $500 million to purchase. That's an investment for a short-term investment, long-term gain. You're looking at that type of money like, damn, that's a lot of bread, man. But you can make that back easy if your team is successful. And the way the NBA is set up, it's very easy to be successful because of the draft and the fact that if you are one of the worst teams in the league, you get a high draft pick. Now, the only way that you can squander that, and teams have, they give up those picks because everybody's given a first round pick. There are, I believe, 31 teams, and the first round goes, every team goes. Now, within time, teams have squandered picks in the future. So, say it's 2011, people will give up the 2015, 2016, 2017 first round picks to do something right then. And so they wanted to win right now. They're not worried about the future. They'll give away their future picks. A team that is not interested in winning right now, but looking for the long haul, looking for a young star to grab, will gladly take those future picks so that they can rebuild the team. So it's a lot of jock jargon, but this is an sports is sports for revolutionaries. But we're dealing with sports, so you're gonna get some sports nerd talk, and you merge the two, like I've said. And so the Supersonics have a very interesting story, and they're no longer here. And they were when they got good, they were real good, especially in the modern '90s. During the years that I was growing up, I remember the Supersonics and going to not I never actually went, but my favorite team, the Chicago Bulls, playing the Supersonics in Seattle, and how supportive that crowd was, and how emotionally involved and invested they were with the team. And it was very difficult to go in that arena and that a building of 17,000 individuals, uh, uh, which is one of the smallest venues in the NBA, if not the smallest. But when you compact it like that, and I've played in small gyms when it's a small amount of people in a small gym, but the noise level creates gets to interesting decibels. You're like, wow, this is like 25 people in here, but they're making a whole lot of noise. And with the home crowd noise, it affects the home team positively and affects the away team negatively. So it was always when the team in the '90s, when they were one of the better teams, um, they really, really made it hard for teams to win there. They played in the Tacoma Dome at first, which was a football stadium, and then they moved from there to the Key Arena. And uh, uh, it's in NBA terms, was in the '90s going into the 2000s, more and more teams were getting new arenas. You know what I'm saying? So if you had your arena for about 20, 25 years, they're like, yo, this shit is getting old. And teams would lobby to the city and the mayor for funding so that they can get a bigger arena. Remember in past shows, I talked about getting into sports and having that economic base, businesses in or near the stadiums, so that when those thousands of people are coming to games 41 times a year, then you got a football team and a baseball team. You got a all right, so you got the football team, you got a basketball team, and then you got the baseball team. You literally got thousands of fans coming through that area all year long. Nothing's in Seattle but rain and sports teams. They even had a WNBA team, right? That was somewhat good. Had some good players. White women looked like dykes. They were dykes, but they had some talent. And to have businesses in and around there, whatever it is that you're selling, sell it there. Doesn't matter. I don't give a fuck what you're selling. You can be selling dog feces for all I care. You're gonna make some sales. And so what cities have to do if they have a large population of blacks whom are trying to go, we talking about this is Washington State. This is Northwest uh, United States. It's out in the Northwest, so not too many black people out there. So it's not really nothing you have to really worry about in regards to uh, overtly oppressing. Even though we are oppressed all over the globe, there's no large groups, large cities, so much that they will be looking to acquire businesses and siphon some of this funding. And I believe this is what happened to Nipsey Hussle in Los Angeles, as he had owned a block near Prime area, near the stadium, the Los Angeles Rams coming back to Los Angeles, and people were getting bought out, just like Romeo Almost Died. Romeo Almost Died wasn't about Aaliyah, fine ass Aaliyah, and the Kung Fu dude. It was about how black businesses was getting raided on to move out, get down and lay down. Even El Chapo gave you alternative. Take the silver or take the lead, which is going to be. And there is no plan. There is no option C. There is no. You know what I'm saying? There is no I'm good. Nigga, you take this money or you take this bullet. Don't make no difference to me. And these are the things that happen in and around these sports franchises. Even if it's white folks and they're not in the long term plans of the investment group that's buying the team, because they'll map it out. This is what we want in 5 years. This is what we want in 10 years. These businesses here are going to be gone. They always want to bring commercial entities. Commercial entities brings hundreds of millions of dollars. The Starbucks of the world, which is in Seattle, known for its coffee, the Dunkin' Donuts, so on and so forth, that you can find all over the globe, the McDonald's, because that's big money right there. You know what I mean? You want to deal with them. The mom and pop stores got to go. Y'all mom and pop. We don't want no type of competition. We got our big six or big seven or big 12, whatever businesses that have reached $1 billion influence and power and recognition. Like I said, the McDonald's, the Burger King, you got the fast food franchises that have been here for a long time. They ain't going nowhere. McDonald's probably first at all the franchises I mentioned. So they ain't going nowhere. You got to have McDonald's. They probably got that in the claw some damn where. And people still eat McDonald's. How many documentaries has been made? How many movies that's been made? People still eat McDonald's. So they move out all the mom and pop stores. They write you a check or they get you out of there. You know what I'm saying? They use all the apparatuses they need, all the way down to the local level. And this is when you find these punk ass cops harassing Nipsey and what he was doing. They come up with plans to get him out of there to sell their businesses. Because what they do is just harass people. Black people, like, even in their jobs, when they're doing things well, they're doing everything they need to do, being there early, leaving late, being courteous and professional. White man be like, I got a cousin that needs a job. And I want him to have that job. So what they start doing, they start running you, disrespecting you, talking about your clothes and trying to write you up. You know what I mean? Overtly watching you. And you get the writing on the wall. So what you do, you bounce. That's what we always do. We always run. And that's the part of the systematic white supremacy we're talking about. So the owner of the Supersonics, and a lot of different things happen in Seattle. And they've been trying to get other teams there, but they were trying to negotiate rebuilding the Key Arena. Lovely facility, but it needed to be renovated, or they maybe needed to build a new one. In any case, like I said, it seated 17,000 people. Now, Seattle at that time in the period that they were successful from late 90s, no, early 90s to 1998. They drafted two players, and I showed the highlights of Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. They had just got a marijuana dispensary, I believe, out in Seattle anyway. They look big as houses now. So they're really excited about that. I mean, that's another story for another day. But it's two brothers that were teammates working together in business. So I gotta at least applaud that. I gotta applaud that. Brothers working together. And so they were two of the most dynamic players in the NBA. The running gun West. Or people were running and gunning. What does running and gunning mean? That means fast breaking, taking the basketball in the NBA from one end of the court to the other end of the court as fast as possible, running the lanes, so on and so forth. I'm gonna act like you already know what I'm talking about. I can't explain everything. And Gary Payton was known as being one of the best on-ball defenders in basketball, and he took pride in it. Old school scorer out of the Oaktown, Oakland, California. Whole lot of game, whole lot of mouth, whole lot of attitude. The new age player when he came in. Even talk shit to Michael Jordan. Didn't matter who you was, he would talk to you. Sean Kemp, coming out of Trinity Community College, went straight to the pros. One of those guys. Took some time to get in the game, get involved in the rotation. But even, I believe, 89 was his rookie year. You can see, one, the freakish athletic ability he had, but the talent. The guys ahead of him were seasoned veterans. So they were going to play because they knew the game of NBA basketball. But you seen his potential, that dreaded P word. And you said, all right, we got a couple years and then we got to play this kid. And so eventually, within a few years, I remember watching his development because he was always in the highlight rim. He'd spin off somebody, Gary Payton, throw the ball up, and he'll jump into the sky and grab it and throw it down. They called him the kid because, they pluck young black men from impoverished neighborhoods. Barely can read, have no understanding and comprehension of life skills, and they're thrust in this man's world where white folks got cameras in their face. And they're going to attack them for every mistake that they make dealing with the media. And so you're going to have white Jews who are their handlers with a battery in their back telling them what to do so that they don't lose sponsorship. You want the money, right? You want the gold, the pot of gold. You don't want to go back to being broke. You want to go back to poverty. You want to get your mother that house. Well, this is how you play the game. This is how you play ball. And they control those young black men because they like the way they live. And all the women, the white women sitting on their face. You know what I mean? As Willie Beeman saying, get dick sucked by $1,000 hoes. You know what I'm saying? They enjoy it. It's great. Says, okay, you can control me. I ain't gonna let go of my real thoughts. But cool, I just do this interview and this whatever. I'm gonna drop my 22, get my 13 rebounds, block a couple shots. Gary Payton, I'm gonna get 20 and 10. That's 20 points, 10 assists. We gonna win the game. I'm gonna get, these little endorsements and stuff, and I'm gonna have a good time. Buy these cars up, get these houses. I'm gonna ball out. And I'm the face of new age basketball. Or one of the many faces. And they had all these different video games coming out and NBA videos. And so you would see Gary Payton and you would see Sean Kemp. And they rose to prominence, became a great team immediately. But when the playoffs came, they couldn't really get it together. 92, 93, they lost to the Charles Barkley-led Phoenix Suns, who went to the finals. In 94, they lost to the Denver Nuggets in a surprise upset. 8th seed, top seed, lost one of the greatest upsets in NBA history. The Denver Nuggets beat 8th seed Denver Nuggets beating the top seed Seattle supersonics. I remember watching that and how well Denver played. And Dikembe Mutombo, a man I was called his name. I was called several times. Did not like it because he had no game. Not so much that he was African, but the fact that he just had a boring game. He just rebounded the block shots. And I'm a student of Michael Jordan. I like flash and dash, and I'm a scorer. I put the ball in the basket. And I don't really block shots like that. Nor did I rebound at the time. I was 12. But I could score. And I seen him just dominate the game, dominate the series. Denver won. 1995, same thing happened. They fizzled out in the playoffs. So finally, 1996 came. They were the top seed in the West again. I remember them being the top seed because we would play Live 94. Now, Live 95 was the first NBA Live. Then Live 96 and Live 97. And then each one of those, when you went to the playoff mode, Seattle was number one every year. Seattle always had the best record in the West, but they could not get to the finals. So finally, in 1996, they went to the finals. Unfortunately, they played the 72-10 Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan coming back, and so that wasn't happening. But they finally went over the hump. Unfortunately, that was their last gasp. They had tried for 4 straight years, winning at a high level to finally get to the finals. Gary Payton and Sean Kemp was playing on sync, and Kemp game matured. If you watch him in the NBA Finals, you can see he became a professional basketball player. It's one thing to be talented. There's one thing to be a scorer. There's one thing to be a distributor. You know, you are labeled a particular type of player. You have one devastating attribute that everybody's familiar with it. But to become a cognizant professional ball player whom moves into superstardom, then when the lights are brightest, the team can count on you to deliver in the biggest moments. And Kemp, in those 6 games against the Bulls, showed that he has arrived. He even impressed Michael Jordan because I remember watching him play, and I remember seeing him in past playoffs have a turnover, a bad shot, a bad foul, just show his lack of maturity. And then once it would snowball, and then the Sonics would lose, and it was always in the playoffs. Regular season, he'd be doing this thing, and you overlook those different things. But once the playoffs started, and you playing every other day, and you on national television every game, now we can see the moles in your game, and he was constantly doing that. Now Kemp ended up succumbing to drugs heavy, and he didn't die, but he had gotten hooked on these things later on in his career, which affected his game. He went from a guy who can fly over people in dunk contests to once he got traded from Seattle, not being able to dunk. A crackhead that gained weight. You don't very rarely run into crackheads who gain weight. All the crackheads I've seen gotten extremely skinny. But yeah, that's the story of the Seattle Supersonics and Gary Payton, what they did on the basketball floor. Gary Payton had the more successful career individually. Well, this really isn't about the players so much. It is, but it isn't. It's kind of the behind the back, not behind the back, but behind the scenes. I'm talking about basketball behind the back. The behind the scenes chicanery that goes on in Seattle or in sports. And it's always political. The Supersonics finally relocated the start of the 2008 season. No, 2009. 2009 season, they relocated to Oklahoma City. Sorry, it's been a long day. I can't seem to talk. And Oklahoma City have a chess arena called Chesapeake Energy Arena that seats 18,000 people. It was completed in 2002, and they've used it a few times. and got really good responses. Seattle had some domes, had some damage before, and they tried some games there. It was a great response. Some other games were played in that arena, and the fan base was just as ferocious as the Seattle fan base. And so you think, hey, can I survive here? Can we sell tickets here? Is this a product that will be successful? And it has been, as within a few years, that Oklahoma City team, led by Kevin Durant, its Hall of Fame pick player, that, once I seen him, man, I knew he was a superstar. I said, man, he would get the ball and make a move and bam, and it'd be like, I saw him the first time he did that shit. I said, yeah, this guy's a lottery pick, man. And it's just, my basketball brain talking. He got the ball squared up, did a jab step, and he was playing center basically. And 145 pounds, 6'10", soaking wet. The jersey and the shorts looked like they was heavier than him. And he averaged 28 points a game in Texas. And I would see his stat line every game on the ESPN uh, bottom line. 33 and 12, 29 and 16. I'm like, who is this kid? So let me watch him. So I watched him. I'm like, shit, this kid is good. And Mr. Glass himself, Greg Oden, uh, they were no-brainer top 2 picks in the NBA. And they kept talking about who's going to go first. Greg Oden, Kevin Durant. Greg Oden. Greg Oden was 19 going on 47. He looked like a 75-year-old man. And he was built like a 70. His bones were like a 75-year-old man. And he could never stay healthy. And, he eventually fizzled out in the NBA. But he got drafted by the Portland Trail Blazers. For you basketball fans who know about Portland and the Trailblazers, drafting ability has always been suspect as they drafted Sam Bowie as opposed to Michael Jordan. So here they had a requiem. Here's an opportunity to make up for everything. Eerily similar? Well, they already had Brandon Roy, a shooting guard who was a very good 6'6" shooting guard, going toe to toe with Kobe Bryant. They were winning games. They were going to line him up with Greg Oden. So you have the inside outside combo coming off the Shaq and Kobe Lakers a few years back. In 1984, the Portland Trailblazers already had Jim Paxson and Clyde Drexler. Clyde the Glide, who was on the Dream Team with Mike. Played against Mike in the finals in 92. Played against Isaiah and them in the finals in 1990. So Clyde is a Hall of Famer himself. So you stack that guard, so you ain't got no big man, you draft Sam Bowie. Years later, people gonna be like, nigga, why didn't you draft Michael Jordan? When nobody knew Michael Jordan was gonna be fucking Michael Jordan. Fast forward to 2007. 1 or 2. Oklahoma City, Seattle Supersonics, Portland Trailblazers. 2 very good teams now at the bottom of the lottery, meaning they stink. Here's the opportunity here. Portland has the number 1 pick. Excuse me. They pick Greg Oden. Literally, the rest is history. Kevin Durant is a superstar of the highest order, returning from injury, looking to take the Brooklyn Nets to their first NBA title. But we're not there yet. We're going back to Seattle. And they're wonderful to the Starbucks owner, Howard Schultz. Schultz! A Jew. That they describe him as an American businessman. A lot of Jews came, changed their name, or identified in the public eye as something other than a Jew. They still had the Jewish power backing because they made themselves and they used that white privilege of being a white male to amass wealth because they came from wealth. You see what I'm saying? And so when you come from money, you have the opportunity to make the money. If you look at Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, and the opportunities he had financially to have successful businesses, the large loans he was able to acquire either from banks and or family members and or friends. We don't have those opportunities. They know if we had those opportunities, we would be uber successful and not be in the conditions that we're in, even if we didn't have our righteous mind. We'd be swimming in money, we'd be richer than ever slaves, but god damn it, we'd be doing our thing. You know what I mean? But it's see, when you in a world of big business, it's ruled by white men. Right? You go into the tippity top. These are what the low level Negroes talk about being in the rooms with powerful, influential white men. Remember, you seen that picture with LeBron James and Warren Buffett, and LeBron James being excited and happy and honored to be in the room with Warren Buffett. And in the room, even though LeBron James is a super god physically, Warren Buffett is the slave master, and LeBron James is the slave. Though no matter what LeBron can do on the basketball court, when those two leave the room, Warren Buffett can ruin LeBron James' life. He's got that much power. Don't believe me? Research the story of Michael Jackson. You don't get no bigger than Michael Jackson. And the white supremacists that Michael Jackson pissed off got together with other Jews and systematically destroyed Michael Jackson's career in waves. They killed him slowly. This is what they do. This ain't no, hey, shoot him after he pissed me off. This ain't El Chapo. This ain't Pablo Escobar. They don't do the whole kill you slowly. What do you do? Kill him. Kill him. You gotta die right now. Like he pissed me off at 7:45. I want him dead by 7:50. These devils play long, intricate games with you. Mike pissed off some cracker in '93, and Mike dies in 2009. But from that point on, it was like, let's kill this nigga. We're gonna do it slow. So a lot of different things was written about this guy, and he's heavily uh, uh, heavy on politics. He's heavy on politics. Now he was born in Brooklyn. A lot of these Jews come from Brooklyn. The ships come over from Israel or wherever from there he was from, and they would come into Brooklyn. A lot of them grew up in housing projects. Remember now, they were poor in the early 1900s, mid 1900s. Obviously, rich Jews were always around. In history, you'll find that they're involved even in the slave trade, and you go back that far. Not to say that all the Jews was rich and all that other shit. That would be disingenuous and incorrect, factually incorrect, or historically incorrect. I'm sorry, factually incorrect. So historically incorrect. So there are some that come over on a boat, see the Statue of Liberty, the Black Statue of Liberty that they won't admit that's black. Bring me your poor, bring me your suffering, and all this other shit to replace the Negroes we got. So they come into the communities that we eventually inhabited and end up getting run down. But Jews will live in these areas and they will look vastly different than when we eventually took them over and they became real ghettos, right? So he comes there and he comes in poor. So it wasn't a situation where this guy had money. He came with both his parents, and Pops had an idea and plan, and it was able to send him to college. Then when you go to certain universities and you graduate and you get the GPA and all that, it's about the resources, the skin color, the complexion, for the protection, for the collection, that you meet individuals and you get on their good side and you come up with ideas. So this Schultz guy, he worked at Xerox. You know what I mean? Then he would work at a coffee machine manufacturing operation. Uh, uh, and then he would eventually visit Starbucks in Seattle, and then he would get hired as the director of retail operations and marketing. See, this is when he was 29 years old in '82. So you were able to one learn where the coffee coming from, learn the game inside out at 29 years old, getting these types of opportunities. You see what I'm saying? And so again, like I said, these aren't the things. These are the things that we are not able to. You look at someone like Schultz and his lifestyle, and then the two aforementioned uh, players that I Gary Payton and Sean Kemp, and you look at their upbringing and their lack of opportunities, and say, "He's a wick. You slinging crack rock, you got a wicked jump shot." Then you got this Jewish guy who's able to go to Northern Michigan. A lot of these schools, I look at schools because I've been conditioned to be an athlete in terms of their basketball program and football. I mean, can program like that. White folks don't look at it like that. Academia, what's the academic track record? Where do the graduates go on to work? Where are the business owners? Are they on Forbes, Fortune 500? You see what I'm saying? Are they still involved with the university? Do they give internships so that budding recruits and graduates have opportunities to spend time around them, picking up the game, learning, understanding, right? Teaching, because you have a business plan and an idea, and then you need investors. So these are things that we're not taught. And so, because of his hard work, because of his stick to itiveness, he was able to acquire about 30 something investors for his idea with Starbucks. Now, he was able to come up with the idea and approach 242 investors who had money. So you go to people who got money. Now, think just the position to us our GoFundMe, which is the idea somebody had, took in investments, and now they do it. Um, or we do small mom and pop stores for handouts to get $500 to get some book bags. A novel idea, but again, we're going to other individuals to get little money, little poor money, to get some book bags to get our children miseducated. And we argue about doing the work. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of the realm, this dude in 1982 got a $400,000 idea and is knocking on legitimate investors so that they can get it put on. And now he owns, fast forward, he owns Starbucks. And then when you go on Starbucks, you going overseas, you meet different people, and then eventually you get to own a damn basketball team. But there were certain things that this guy was involved in that led me to this story, and apparently there had been some chicanery about uh, 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 him owning a team and him selling the team, and then you have the owners at that time who are taught in a certain ways as Jewish men. Notice the owners always have these problems with the NBA players or the NFL players because they were taught, hey, this is how you deal with the Negro. And so a brother becomes a superstar, and then he's in his own realm, he's on his own bubble, and it becomes eventually he grows up enough to become a black man. A lot of times when these fallouts happen, these brothers either become superstars or they later in their career, so they have an understanding of manhood and have been involved in different things, been jobbed on some contracts and been swindled for some money. So when they come in, that's second or third contract, they're moving in a different position. And so apparently, um, a lot of these guys who have Hall of Fame players end up having fallouts with them. And the player goes to another team and finishes his career. But then when he's a Hall of Famer and it's like, what team you going under and, have that Jerry Rice day or Joe Montana day. Joe Montana had issues with the 49ers. Jerry Rice had issues with the 49ers. Other players had issues with the 49ers. Terrell Owens, you know what I'm saying? Brett Favre had a long feud with Green Bay. And it's sad because it's like, you retired. Why don't you come on home, get recognized, get appreciated, so home fans can, scream your name and cheer you on. But it doesn't happen because there's a few. Same thing with Shaq. And Shaq then went to so many teams. It's like Shaq, who you going under? You go under the team that you won 3 championships under. But he had issues with Orlando because when he wanted this $100 million contract, I think he was one of the first athletes to get it. The Orlando owner was like, "You ain't getting that." And he said Jerry West called him like, "We got good news and bad news." He said, "What's the bad news?" He said, "We don't got 150 million. He wanted 150. We don't got 150 million. He said, "Okay, what's the good news?" He said, "We got about 125." He said, "I'll take it." So he went to LA and they gutted their whole team, but they were so talented. They gutted their whole team, added Shaq. And I knew the players. I knew what their capabilities were. I'm like, damn, they're gonna go right to the top of the West with what they had, and you add Shaq. They're like, all right, then you lose your whole team to get a superstar. To get how old was he then? 24, 25-year-old Shaq. You gut your whole team. Yeah, whoever you give them all, take all these niggas. Take them all. Give me Shaq. Take them all. Take who you want. Pick who you want. Don't matter. All these niggas is up for grabs. Give me Shaq. 25 years old. Give me Shaq. So the guys will have these outs with their teams. Uh, Sean Kemp again was going through his personal problems. Seattle faltered in 2007. They not 2007 in 1998. They started to get rid of guys. 98. Van Baker came in. He had a drinking problem, so that worked well for 1 year. Then he fell off the wagon basically. Gary Payton shouldered it on for a couple more years during the rebuilding stage, and then he got traded to Milwaukee. And they end up getting Ray Allen and another brother, Rashard Lewis, who's a pretty good player. But Ray Allen, obviously, probably second or third ballot Hall of Famer. Uh, One of the greatest shooters in NBA history. He played there a couple years, got his rocks off. But they saw Durant. These guys watch players while they're 16, 17 years old, and they're like, okay, in 3 years, he's going to be eligible for the NBA draft. If he continues to develop, we want him. And it looks like he's going to be a number 1 or 2 pick. So teams will start positioning themselves to acquire these players before they're even available or eligible for the NBA draft. And that's big business. We're talking about thinking in the future, near and or far. And Seattle was able to acquire Garnett, or not Garnett, I'm sorry, Durant. And then in the year after, they went like 15 and whatever, 15 and 67 or something like that. They said, "Cool, we're gonna get Durant, man, and we just gonna make it happen." Now, when you deal with somebody's political views, you can go into a bunch of different things, and it was interesting that certain things that came up. when I was looking at him. All these Negroes, all these guys dealing with God. He's one of these. Um, what's that guy name? That old devil that was talking about the government gonna pay for all this different stuff and the New Deal, the Green New Deal, and all that. He was a old Jew as well. This guy talked about wind energy and he endorsed Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. So he was a Democrat that believed the same thing that Democrats believe: free trade, balanced budget, tax reform, gun control, same-sex marriage, all the same, all the bullshit, and becomes one of those endorsers. John Edwards, you remember him? Uh, you know, he endorsed him as well, and all these different things, man. These are just, you guys know this stuff, man. I ain't gotta tell you nothing about these certain political things. I don't necessarily deal with them, but the buzzwords when you're dealing with any political party, especially Democrat and Republican, either one is not good for black people. So again, you are not going to find a billionaire white friend. You'll be a guy who is a businessman and invest in things he eventually can take over, dominate and exploit. You don't become a 400 million, 400 billion, or I would say 400 billionaire. Well, I'll say 400 billionaire. You don't make that type of money and not exploit. That's all about exploiting. You know what I mean? And he's find himself in Ethiopia doing business with the Ethiopian government. You know what I mean? So this is the former Seattle owner who eventually sold the team to Oklahoma City, and they finally said that they wasn't going to sell. And this is what these devils do: they lie. Say, "Oh, we'll keep the team in Seattle. Why would you think that we would move from Seattle to Oklahoma City, even though we are an investment group based in Oklahoma City, and that you guys come to Oklahoma City a few times, and we've been asking to get a team, looking to get a team, and we want a team, and we just bought the Seattle Supersonics, but we're not going to move them to Seattle." It's crazy for you to say that. White folks lie all the time. And I look at their lies in amazement because everybody knows this is what you're going to do. Like, duh. Everybody knows. But you try to play us doing the political spin and the media spin. Hey, this is not what we're going to do. Absolutely, we're going to do. We can't believe you actually will call us out on that. But as white people, we have to lie to you, and eventually you'll find out that yes, indeed, we were lying the entire time. Our total focus was bringing it in Oklahoma City, and that renovations to the old Key Arena was sabotaged, and the money couldn't be acquired. And by the time you find out, we've signed all the papers because we crossed our T's and dotted our I's. This is the things that they do to one another. This is white on white crime that we never ever talk about. Yeah, you're trying to seek $500 billion, but I've usurped the power system that you got to go through to get approval for these funds. I've greased them off so that they wouldn't approve it. So I'm hedging my bets here. So I'm gonna pay you this money, have you sign some contracts. So if you do find out what happened and you try to sue motherfuckers, white folks will sue you. Oh, you signed that clause that says you can't sue. So you got no case, pal. It's a wrap. And I heard some stories about this guy, but when you look up certain information, people are protected, you know, and they got a lot of money. So they'll make sure they get rid of the unflattering stories about themselves. So it's kind of hard to find. You try to dig and dig and dig, and eventually you got to go to work. You know what I'm saying? You got to handle your business. Uh, but it's an interesting story, a documentary that was created about the sale of the Seattle Sonics. I have to check this thing out. Let me see what it's called. Requiem Let me see. Brothers and sisters, sorry for the pause. Where my man Spike's at? Spikes is the guy. Shout out to Spikes. What's going on, Spikes, if you're listening? Let me see. I want to get the title right. Science-Gate Requiem for a Team. Details the rise and demise of the Seattle Supersonics franchise and focus more on the scandalous aspects. And I really, when you deal with scandalism, you want to read between the lines, like I told you all about the Nexium organization that was basically a sex cult uh, with the Caucasian standard of beauty or handsomeness white man who had created an entity and an institution devised to brainwash women into having sex with them. And that he was, I don't know if he was, I don't think he went to college for psychology. He had to, or he had to have a lot of psychologists around him. Because you're studying people, you're studying women especially. He would have, quote, a constant close proximity to them, constantly touching them, giving intimate information. Was a philosopher, had his own different philosophy and pushed boundaries and all that. And people around him constantly supported him. So when you got a support base around them all the time and you're talking to that support base and they are always talking in high regard to you, then it's very likely that you would criticize that individual. It's like that in all these cults. You know what I mean? And, I'm sure these barons, I call them, have the same type of kiss ass support network around them as well. You really don't want to publicly criticize a multi-billionaire or 100 millionaire because if they're sensitive, they can make you disappear. But also, you won't really find any help. You'll go to people and go to people and go to people, especially the big mouths, and go to people and go to people. When you get rebuffed and rejected, eventually the word gets back to him, and he says, "There's nothing you can do." I remember the scene. You remember the scene in not Dark Knight, but Batman Begins, when the character Bruce Wayne went to the mob boss's hideout and was going to confront him, you know, about what went down because apparently he was the strings behind the killing of his parents. And so he, obviously knew all about it. He didn't deny it at all. So he sat down and you did this, that, and the third. And he truly was like, you ain't got nothing to lose. You ain't thinking straight. You ain't thinking about the girl that you know. I know about the girl, and you ain't thinking about Alfred. And he started, the camera went back to him. And he was like, "Oh shit, I didn't." You can see he had that face. Look, he said, "Look over there. I got politicians, I got mayors, I got governors, and they showing police chiefs. They showing all people of power and influence within the city that he bought off. They all on his team." And they showed him he got girls around him, and he looked and he know Bruce, and Bruce is a philanthropist and he got bread too. But you ain't finna do what I'm finna do. You're the philanthropist. You're the good guy. You got the bread just like I got bread. But you'll go to them and lobby to them about doing things that's right, but you won't bribe them and you won't kill them. Who's going to arrest them? And who's going to bang that gavel to put them in jail? I got them. I got the judges. I got the officers. I got the chiefs. The city's corrupt. The city's mine, bro. So those are the people that you're dealing with, and that's the face of professional sports. These people that are behind the scenes owning these teams. You very rarely you see Steve Ballmer as a ugly white man look like Mr. Burns, who was similar to Jerry Jones doing the interviews. Hey, I'm the billionaire. I'm the guy that owns the team. You need to know what my thought process is at all times. And if you do good by me, I'll remember you. I'll also remember you if you do bad by me. But like I said, these are the types of things, that we are going to discuss on Export Sports for Revolutionaries, the ins and outs of sports and who owns it. I love this shit, man. The money that's thrown around, the names that are mentioned within the stories, the teams that are mentioned, because the reality is you have to merge black conscious thinking with big business and industry. The only person that talked about that regularly and consistently was Amos Wilson. This is why, you find out, why certain people were taking out. When you merge black consciousness and the blueprint for Black Power, that legendary book that we all should have. Unfortunately, I do not have it, but step by step of how to create big business so that Africans and the diaspora can benefit and benefit only. And understand, only righteousness goes so far. You're going to have to get bloody. If they get bloody in these drug cartels, you better believe we're going to have to get bloody. Having import export and taking back the things that's in the ground that we grow or that is rightfully ours that the earth gives to us, those raw materials. Who got balls enough to take that crown back from the Queen of England? You know what I'm saying? That's a new type of black man. Go in there and take that crown. Bring it back to the Africans. Be the sacrifice. That's a hell of a symbol right there. How much you think that crown is? Ain't none of that shit cut. That's 100%. Everything on that crown is 100%. Take it back. Take back what's yours. My computer about to die at 27%. I want to thank y'all for listening. Export Sports Revolutionaries. I got to find a song. And you know what? You know what I found? And they're probably a strike, but I hope they don't, man. They'll keep striking the stories and shit and everything. Every time Keith hit me up, be like, yo, man, they took down the video because you keep putting it. I'm like, damn, can't nobody, I don't want to go to an official site and get the music I'm trying to get. But it's like, damn, where is, hey, where is the damn song so goddamn it I can play it and not get a strike? I ain't gonna play Fergie, punk ass. Fuck Fergie. Ugly bitch. Y'all see it. You gotta leave out. Man, when I thought of this show, I thought of this song. Y'all be cool, man. I appreciate y'all for listening. Exports, the Sports for Revolutionaries, Supersonic, the story of the Seattle Supersonics, one of the baddest teams in league history. Y'all know nothing about this, man.
Behind the turntables is DJ Train. Mixing and scratching is the name of the game. Now here's a little something about nosy people.
That's
it's
right.
Not real hard, it's plain and simple. Baby D.
Donate and support to the Black Hot Fire Network.
Supersonic. Supersonic.
Support real black media in these trying times. When the economy is destroyed, it's another way to mute the voice of the people. Because they're even more fearful of losing the very few economic opportunities we have. We're not going away.
Supersonic is a word when people stop
Y'all
to
be
listen.
cool.
Especially bigger people, they pay close attention. You might not believe it, you might not even buy it, but when it comes to our lady, you might even try it. Supersonic. Supersonic. Now all you supersonic people try to bite our rhymes. You may think that you are deaf, but you're way behind. So you better listen good to what we have to say. Cause when it comes to JJ Bad, you can get no play. Supersonic. Supersonic. Now he from coast to coast. My man can cut and scrap, but I don't mean to boast. He may be a little light, but that's okay. Cause when he cuts to the beat, it sounds this way. Hit it! Supersonic. Supersonic. Yeah, it's finally my turn to rock the mic because my devastating beats I know you will like. You see my beat box is fresh, it'll blow your mind. And if you don't like my beats, I'll go big in your behind. Supersonic. Supersonic. Now you party people know what supersonic means. We didn't try to brag cause JJ Fat is just too clean. Now baby, don't you know that our rhymes are so bionic? Don't listen too hard, don't be supersonic. Supersonic. You see the S is for super and the U is for unique. The P is for perfection and you know that we are freaks. The E is for exotic and the R is for raps. So tell those nosy people just to stay the hell